Hey, no introduction today, but I'm still random pop culture news free, so links to description box down below to all my links. So, yeah, let's get started. So, extremely important video now. Every time it's Xbox news, I'm just gonna start playing Halo Infinite from now on. It's Master Chief is pretty much not even unconfirmed, super confirmed, like mascot of the Xbox Series X and S and shit, and Xbox One. Almost every old school Xbox fan or millennials. I grew up with the first Xbox, and even Xbox 360. That's how big of a deal that is, but it has something to do with Xbox a little bit. This comes from PC Gamer. Links to the description box down below. I had to be a little more quiet today because number one, roommate's sleeping, and number two, I don't want to wake none of the dogs up either. Actually, I have little Chihuahua dogs, by the way. In fact, you go to my older videos in 2015-16, you'll know that. Excuse me, I have to take a drink real quick. This comes from Hope Kerrigan from PC Gamers. This is HDMI 2.0. Can be labeled as HDMI 2.1 and no enhancement. I didn't even know there was a thing called FLR, by the way. I didn't even know there were specs for curvy shaped TVs, like the Samsung ones that are like level of immersiveness. The curve shaped ones. Pretty creepy-ish. I might do 2 videos. I'm going to be doing Pokemon Legends Arceus because those are big ass news amounts when I came from Legends Arceus. 3 ancestors, one that came from like the Pokemon region. I'm going to get to that in the next video, but Serena, I think she was the ancestor of May, ancestor of Serena, or ancestor of Caitlyn from Pokemon Black 1 and 2, or the Pokemon X and Y region, Kalos region. So it says this isn't going to make buying tech all more difficult. I can't do nothing about the thing. It says I apologize. It says Windows 7 Basic better. I can't do nothing about that, so if that pops out, I apologize. I'm not gonna read half this article. I'm gonna read the whole thing. Mainly as fast related shit though. So it says HDMI cables. This comes from Hope. Gotta give credit. Credit due to Hope Kerrigan. HDMI cables are a staple for almost any household these days. Of course it is. I'm not surprised. It usually is. So, yeah, let's get this started. So I was like, I'm trying to make sure the loop was on for this thing. Alright, it is. For our Halo Infinite. So the diminished commonplace is a convenient quality to transfer both video and audio from a device with a single cable. Long gone are those days of matching various colorful cable cords. Now HDMI is king, with the shadow government display port still truly running in the background. I've never heard about that display port. But being an industry standard also means everyone is looking to make a quick buck out of them. Brands have been making all kinds of them claims, hoping to turn their HDMI ports into old news and the latest hot thing. And not to be fair, they aren't all created equally. We have a guide here to help them if you are in need of a new HDMI. But there's always been a difficult field to navigate. Now that the HDMI 2.1 is out, pretty big ass news there for Xbox Series X and S. It's also about to get even more difficult. HDMI 2.1 is a newer version. HDMI has gamers pretty excited. I didn't even know about this. Cables with the power to carry 4K signal, the highest I ever heard was 12K. You literally have to be almost a millionaire to get a freaking 12K screen. I'll never be able to get a 12K TV ever in my lifetime, unfortunately, unless I live 400 or 500 years or 1,000 years, which I know will be long gone, passed away by then. Let's continue. So, but it turns out we definitely needed it to be writing guides. The certification for HDMI 2.1 is incredibly murky. Again, this is for Xbox News only, Microsoft. Some TFC Central smelling something fishy after seeing his main display boastings revealed. No shocker there, obviously. Always is, but da-da-da. It says, oh, right here. This is what I wanted to read and stop here, but let's keep going more. Due to a subdivision of HDMI certification standards, the HDMI 2.1 is divided into TMDS. Bandwidth is equivalent to the original HDMI 2.1 and FRL protocols. I didn't even know what the FRL is. Literally yesterday when I heard about this news. HDMI 2.1 interface of this product supports the TMDS protocol. The maximum support resolution is 1920 by 1080, and the maximum refresh rate is by 200 40HZ. I think that's hertz or gigahertz. TFT Central is contacted by HDMI license administrator at HDMI.org for further clarification on HDMI 2.1 and whether or not the device can actually claim to support it. The replay from the HDMI.org containing the list of these points is, quote, HDMI 2.0 the compliant versus V2.0 as is reference to not anymore. The future details, features of the HDMI 2.0 are now subset of 2.1. This is kind of all gibberish to me after this. All the new capabilities are featured with the associations associated. HDMI 2.1 are optional. This includes FRL, very big thing there. FRL, higher bandwidth, VR. I don't know what any of this is. This is all speaking like a whole other different language for me. Because I'm not an expert as 4K, 12K, putting on enough TVs, resolutions for that. ALLM, and everything else. If a device claims compliance to 2.1, they need to also state what features the device supports but so that there is no confusion at all. So essentially all the HDMI 2 ports are now available to HDMI 2.1, and technically the best kind are correct. Oh yeah. If they have any correct or compatibilities with each other, and even old ports are made long before HDMI 2.1 was available, it could still technically be considered HDMI 2.1 by these rules. This is going to be terrible for consumers trying to purchase the new HDMI 2.1 products moving forward. And yes, I was able to read the whole thing. Cool. As always, we will try to keep you updated to what's worth spending your money on and what's not worth it. Spending your money on, I guess. You gotta vote wallet for you now if you can. With the QR codes and my personal pin this smart base becomes a thing. It's gonna be scary as shit, but let's move on. Please do read any packaging very carefully before committing. That is a communicating, committing to your cash. And yeah, that's it. This is the hardware writer, Hope Corrigan. Okay. Wow, this chick used to work as Tech Life, Bite Size, and IGN GameSpot. Oh wow. I didn't know that, man. Anyways, overall thoughts, views, and opinions. This is what the bad boys are gonna look like if they are 8K or 12K. These things are extremely new. 2.1 HDMI, bro. 2.1. Imagine how super realistic and super clear that's gonna look on a Nintendo Switch OLED, if that can even do that. And I'm not even talking about hardware tech. Interior, exterior tech, that's a whole other different world to me. I gotta give credit doing that. Some people like him, some people hate him because it's kind of like a drama alert wannabe Keemstar which is Richard from VTech USA. I heard about it from him yesterday, so I'll leave the link to his video down below. I will say this, he made a lot more sense talking about it. He's a lot more. That's his field of expertise. Him and Spawn Wave Meter, that's their more field of expertise with this shit here. HDMI 2.1s. He made so much more sense. I'll leave the link to his video down below. Sometimes he's funny dude, sometimes I disagree with him certain things, especially with the jab stuff. And we're way on different routes on that end. But I will say this, I really hope it's worth the money. Because if it's not, it's going to suck. And I remember you saying, no, most of the customers, consumers, everyday mom and pop people, normies, they're not going to understand none of this shit. I remember he said something in his video like, none of the average consumers are not going to understand HDMI 2.1. None of them are going to check the back of the freaking TV and do a soldering of it, completely take the TV apart, put it back together like Spawnway Media or Linus Tech Tips does, or even the other dude, Something Games, I forgot who it was. He mentioned in this video, I'll leave it down below. He explains it way more professional than me. That's all I was say for now around here, and they have the real gold 8K ones and 12Ks, like freaking sick, phenomenal. So that's what I use for mine, so 8K. Mine is an 8K TV. That's the highest my resolution goes. And that's it. Peace out once again, ladies and gentlemen, girls, and boys and fans, as always. Had nothing to do with Xbox, or should have. For talkers and bonus last week, I see you guys the day after night. Wherever you're at in the universe, out there, searching for content, go to video industries, like my news, search, see drama news, TikTok news, celebrity gossip news, once in a while, reaction videos, and that's it. Take it easy, peace out. Ladies and gentlemen, see you for this side. Goodbye! Don't take the BAXX and don't take the snake bite. Later. See you soon. Take care.